This is our Ware County Board of Commissioners public hearing for Thursday, June the 27th at 3:30. And I'm going to do a roll call first. Mr. Burst.
Present.
Mr. Pope. Present. Mr. Lucas. Mr. Lucas.
Mr. Present.
Mr. Hendricks. Here. Okay. Chair's here. Before we start this meeting, I'm going to ask Mr. Burst if he would lead us in prayer.
God is. Father, we thank you, Lord, for this day that you've made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. We thank you, O God, for how you bless us in so many wonderful ways. And we pray, Father, that you would just continue to look upon this city and this county. We pray that you can look upon the inhabitants of this city and county. We pray, God, you will bless us as we go into the deliberation of this business of this county. We pray, God, that we let our decisions be made with thee in mind, O God, that you will give us the right thing to say, when to say it, and how to say it. We pray, God, that you would just give us the right wisdom, O God, to make the decision we need to make. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have agenda items. We're going to do the presentation on the proposal budget for the fiscal year ending June the 30th, 2025. And we're going to ask Beverly, will you come up and everybody got their copy of the budget?
How are you guys doing?
All right.
Doing good, Beverly.
Good to see y'all. A lot of work went into this budget, and we calculated a lot of different numbers. And we based our budget off of what we did last year. So when I put all those numbers in, I usually have my little formula over here, and it says this is what we're going to need. So with what the department heads turned in, some may have turned in a little more than what they got, but we had to shave here and there so that we could make the budget work. So what I give you guys a line item, line by line item for the entire general fund budget, that if you need to look at something in specific, you can look at it. And other than that, that's this is what we think we need to get by this year, this coming up year. So it's not just me working on this. All the department heads, the sheriff, the jail, all the department heads have done really good in trying to tighten up their budgets and shave costs here and there. And I know with like the jail, for instance, the inmate medical expense, it's going up regardless. We've looked at contracting it out with, or quotes, I guess. We've been thinking about getting quotes, but no one else does it. No one else provides that service. So we're kind of bound by who we're using, and if they go up, we gotta go up with them because we got to take care of the inmates. That's part of our job. So, but the sheriff has done a great job with that at the jail. Some of the numbers in this budget are from the recreation department. It reflects some numbers in there to raise their seasonal staff. Y'all are gonna laugh, but some of them are making like $7.25 an hour, minimum wage. So we have raised that to $9 an hour to try and make it a little more comparable to what they can get somewhere else. And again, this is seasonal positions, so it's just as they need them throughout the different seasons of their programs. So let's go to the first slide, and you'll see that was last year's budget, and that's everything we had in last year's budget. Health fund, workers' comp, our SPLOS that went out, our SPLOS that's coming in, our T-SPLOS, our regional, that's everything that we have, all the different funds that we have to work with throughout the year. And the general fund is the one that funds all of our salaries and everything y'all saw on those line item sheets. This is what we're thinking we're gonna need for, or estimating we need for FY '25. Now, if you look at the health fund number down there at the bottom is the same as the health fund number was last year. But the health insurance, actually, the fixed fees are going down, and we're gonna save like $33,000 there. But I'm still budgeting for the entire amount, because if our claims run good, we got that little padding in the health fund. Because so far, we've run good with our claims, and they haven't been over what we've put in our health fund. But someday, our luck's gonna run out, and we may have some bad claims or some higher claims, and we're gonna need that extra little money. So when I say we're saving $33,000, I didn't take it out of the health fund and put it anywhere. It's still there. So I want that left there just in case we have some bad claims one year. So the SPLOS, let's talk about SPLOS 23 numbers up there. And y'all can see them on the TV, so I don't know.
Ms. Beverly.
I'm just pointing at this one.
Yeah, if you-
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, going back to the health insurance, I think it needs to be mentioned too that we're self-insured. So, you know, like you said, in that 30-something thousand, maybe that saving, but, you know, if we pull that out, then that's what you might say, the little cushion or the little reserve, we got that just in case. And we always have to kind of travel on that assumption that, hey, by us being self-insured, it can go either way.
By being self-insured, it has saved us a lot of money.
Right.
Since we went to self-insured. Before, we was with Anthem, with our medical and our pharmacy. And they wouldn't let us take the pharmacy piece out because we don't have 500 employees. So we were kind of bound by them. You're gonna pay this, and that's what you're gonna pay. And that's the way we did it until our broker suggested going self-insured. And since he suggested that, and we took that leap of faith and we started it, we now pay by our claims. We have those fixed fees we pay every month, but then we have the claims that come in. And once the claims get to a certain point, we have another insurance that picks up that. So we will never go over a certain amount on one employee. But if you get, I'd say 20 of those employees that you didn't have that stop loss on them, and it went up to millions of dollars, we'd be broke. So the way our broker set us up with this insurance, we're doing pretty good with it. But you never know. It could all come crashing down. And those fixed fees, that's where the $33,000 comes
Right.
in. I didn't change, we haven't went up on the insurance the last 2 years. Last 2 years, we haven't went up on the employees on the insurance. And we're still finishing under budget because I budget for the highest claims. And we pray we don't have to pay them
Right.
claims. So it seems to be working so far, and we still have that money sitting there. So, any other questions?
That's all I have on
Okay.
insurance.
I'm sorry I was moving so fast. On the SPLOS 23, that was the amount that we had collected as of the end of May, I think. Or it could have been, oh no, that's what I budgeted for next year. My bad. I was gonna tell y'all, through May, we have collected $8,318,000. And all of that money is sitting in our bank drawing interest till we get to 12 mil.
Right.
And when we get to 12 mil, the MOU with the city said we have that for the overpass, economic development,
That's it.
and the Downtown Development Authority in the Ware County, WWDA. So that's what that covers. So I think I calculated a while ago, in about 5 months, we should start paying the city. They're 40% of the SPLOS.
Yeah, okay, now, and correct me if I'm wrong here, the 12 million is really supposed to be earmarked just for that overpass, right?
Well,
Not,
That's correct.
yes.
not development, all that?
No.
All that comes in after we get the 12 million,
Correct.
Okay.
right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
You say that splash, let me ask you something
Okay.
about 14 splash night, that's the end of that one, is that
Yeah,
correct?
we're not receiving any
We're
more
not.
funds from it, but we still have funds in
You
it.
have that much,
So when I did this presentation, I put the balance that we had as of May 30th.
okay,
So that was the balance that was in that account. So I said we could spend it for next year.
okay, okay,
And we really would need to do that so we can close that account out.
okay, 'cause that'll have to be closed out for the 14th.
Pretty soon,
Because you
yes.
can't go with the new splash in that, can you?
Yeah, they say that you're supposed, within 7 to 8 years, after it's closed, you should have it closed out, have the money spent, close it out, and if you have a new one. We just closed out the 2008, what, 2 years ago? probably?
Last year, I
Or
think.
was it last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, because this,
Yeah.
that falls under the sunshine law.
Yeah, you gotta close them out. You can't let them hang out there because voters approve for those projects to be done and the funds come in, you're supposed to accomplish the project.
Okay, so let me ask this, Scott, so on the 14, what, 3 million, Beverly?
It's probably just under that now.
4.8.
Okay, so, and there were certain things that, projects that was earmarked for that 14 splash. So that money, is there any projects that was projected that we haven't done, or can we use that toward, that's what I'm trying.
Based on the law, you can move the funds from one line item project base from one to another based on what the need is. And based on also too, the way it was explained to me is you apply the money where you need the money to finish the project, whatever project that is. It could be that you're supposed to go buy, 4 dump trucks. Well, if you haven't bought any, or if you only bought one and you say you're planning on buying 4, then you finish that up and buy the remaining 3. So it's all on what you get accomplished. And that's kind of how it was for this building. This building we're sitting in now it came out of the 08 SPLOST.
Right.
And so whatever funds were needed to finish this project could be, they weren't, but they could be moved into the account to get this project done. So you can move back into where you need the money. Yes, sir.
If you look at slide 12, that shows you a little bit of what we have in different areas left in the SPLOST 2014. We'll get to that in a few minutes.
Okay,
And you'll see where we have line items. We call them line items, and Harrison, the accountant, he tells us what goes where. And then, like he said, if it's something on there, then we just reduce the line item to put it where it needs to go and finish it.
okay.
All right, if you look at the regional T-SPLOST, that is what I say we should get for next year. That's what's on that spreadsheet. But right now, we have a balance of $4 million in that account, in the regional. That's approximate. And we already talked about the health fund. And I do not have the ARPA up there on that because the ARPA account has got to be used up. That money needs to be expended by December the 31st. And right now, there's about $2 million in that account approximately. So, I'm sure that the county manager will be coming back to you in the next few months with things that we desperately need for the county that will not have to come out of the general fund.
And also in conjunction with that, Ms. Beverly, on the ARPA, my understanding is, like I said, it has to be spent by December 31st, or it's got to be projects earmarked, and they have to be completed by
It's gotta be
2025.
Under contract. You can't just say, hold the money and say, I'm
Right.
gonna do this. It's gotta be contracted in place that it's
And
gonna happen.
then that contract has to be finished by the end of 25, December 2025.
Yeah. All right,
Okay.
so let's go to slide 4. And when we put the budget together, we've had to look at a lot of things. And one of the big things is quality employee retention. There's a 5% pay increase in there for our employees, and I know the commissioners, you guys are getting a certain percentage come January 1. ACCG has not put out that information, how to calculate what you guys are getting yet, so it was a guessing game on my part. Is what? Okay.
And that'll be July or January?
January for
January.
elected officials.
Okay.
So, and just like Roger, you know, all the other constitutional officers, we gotta give them extra money. So, the utilities negatively affected this budget because utilities across the board have just skyrocketed for whatever reason. So, that's one of the reasons the budget's a little higher than it's been. We can't get some items. There's a lot of training. When you have turnover, you got to have all this training for the new employees coming in, and that could knock our budget a little bit, but we'll just monitor it as we go. And at the next slide, you'll see a 3-year comparison of what we actually received and spent in FY23. You see we brought in a little more than we expended, so we added a little bit to the reserves. And so far, this again is as of May the 31st, we've received that much revenue and our expenses are just under where they need to be. So we still have 2 months of sales tax revenue to record because it runs behind. And we still have a month of expenses to record, and I don't see why, unless I've missed something, we should finish under budget again this year and be able to add a little bit more to the reserves. And then you see for the FY25 budget, we've got the expenses budgeted for the revenue we think we can bring in. And on slide 6, you'll see where the percentage on my pie chart, taxes are like 81% of our budget. That's not just property tax. We've got excise tax. We've got sales tax. We've got all kinds of taxes that we get a little percentage of, and that's what makes up the majority of our budget, as well as the property tax. So this is what we think we're going to be able to collect moving forward. So working off of what I think we can collect, this is what we're budgeting our expense numbers off of. And you see where public safety is, that's 53%. And then when you add public works to it, you might as well add total health and welfare. That's not just benefiting county people, that's benefiting city and county. That's benefiting a lot of other folks besides just our folks. Let's go to slide number 8. And as I said, I put a 5% COLA for all employees, and then the COLA for the elected officials, and then a 3.9% decrease of cost health benefits if they don't run too high, which shouldn't be reflective in the general fund, but I probably should have took that off for last year. We have not went up on the health insurance, and on the 5% COLA, y'all, when I started, there was some folks making hardly anything in some of these offices. And with everything going up, you cannot keep good employees if you're not going to pay them. They're going to go somewhere else. And we need the good employees that we have. We need to keep them. So this is the only way I could figure I could help, was to try and get this in our budget. So if we go to slide number 9, you'll see the revenues projected up there in comparison of last year and this year, and the expense. And see the 911 center went up a little bit. I know we had to change and add some part-time positions for her because she couldn't get full-time employees. So we've added some part-time positions here and there. The rec department went up, I said, because we're trying to pull up some $7.25 an hour employees. Public Works went up a little bit, because again, you're trying to retain quality employees. When it shows that, I don't think this is on that slide. Let's go to the next slide. These are all the departments or all the areas we pay outside of Ware County. Vital statistics to the health department, I think that goes. The Board of Health, you pay. Unison, y'all be approving that contract in the next meeting. The Senior Citizen Center belongs to Ware County, so we pay the utility bills. Department of Family and Children's Services always requests some money every year. The library, all of these are the same, except, did I change any of them? No. All of them are the same, and if we have to spend more, then we do a budget amendment at year end. And right now, where I've got the library up there with 282, that's what they asked for. That's what we have. And this year to date, we've already spent 245. So there'll be an amendment to do to that budget. But all the rest of them, the land bank, we help with the land bank, Georgia Forestry, Action Pack. We try to help other agencies in the county that are helping other folks too. The next slide on number 11 shows our lost revenue. That's what's in the general fund that we use every year to help support the county. Our average lost payment's about $443,000. I just saw May's payment, and it's not reflected in there, and that's another $450,000. So we're almost to the point of meeting our budget goal revenue for last year, for this year. So it's got a little bit of a decrease right there, but I think with this month and next month, it's actually going to go up a little bit. And there's your SPLOST 2014 that I was talking about a while ago with your slide number 12 that shows some of those line items. Those were the approximate numbers that we had in those lines, like the rec department. But once you meet whatever was on that referendum, then you put it wherever it's needed, right?
Yeah, I think, and I'm not off the top of my head, I don't remember which ones they were, but there's about 3, maybe 4 in there that can be shifted into another one, for instance.
Right.
Like Public Works and Equipment, that's, it's only $24,000. Those were used for equipment primarily, and maybe project-based stuff, but those things can be closed out because there's really no other projects that's being used for that. And I don't remember right offhand. I had some notes, but I'd have to go back and look at the recreation complex. I think that money was going to be used to do some of the improvements out there to the structures that has bad siding. There are some of the buildings out there that need some attention. They hadn't been worked on since that was built. But other than that, it's pretty much all of them. The bulk of them is the roads, streets, and bridges.
So, Scott, if I may, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, just like on the public works and equipment and improvements, it's 24,000 left in there. Mm-hmm. Okay, so, and I'm just kind of trying to simplify for myself here. So that 24,000, we could actually take that, just like say we talking about another excavator. Mm-hmm. We could take, instead of the full amount we use now, we could take this money and add it to there.
Correct.
And that pretty much will wipe that out right there.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If you move to slide 13, you'll see our GDOT funding. And right there, our LMIG money, every year we get, that's that top number, 1.1, that was our LMIG money we received for this year. But what Brandon was talking to you guys about at the last meeting, what's it, ELFR?
The LRA money.
LRA money, yeah. We received that yesterday.
Now, that's the 1.4.
That's it.
1.364.
Okay.
So that's double that
Okay.
From the
that we
state.
have sitting there to spend on roads.
And that was the commitment we made to use that LRA money to add to the roads that we have planned to be paved.
Right.
Right.
One week.
And then you see, this year, year to date, through May 31st, we've spent almost $4 million out of various funds, SPLOST, regional, whatever the fund was, on roads. So if we go to slide 14, you see we have received T-SPLOST money. I do it. We've actually received $11,000 worth of T-SPLOST money this year, and I'm assuming it was from late returns being turned in, and it just trickled down to us. But there is approximately $780,000 left in that account, the T-SPLOST, and remember, that's the one that had, was it named roads it had?
Yeah, we turned in a list of roads that was part of the referendum.
So
So
had
there
all,
was, no, and we still have some more of those roads that we didn't have funds at the time to finish up that list, but there is an existing list if the commission wants to move forward to finish those up. There's probably, from what I remember seeing, there was maybe 12, 15 roads left to be either paved or resurfaced in that single county T-SPLOST.
And we got a list of those.
We do, I think Brandon does, and I can
Okay.
get that list from him.
Will some of those be on that 14 too? Splash, man.
The separate, that's the
It'd be-
14 we didn't, on the
Them lists.
14, there wasn't an itemized
Named
There
list.
was none of
There
those
weren't
be on
named
that,
streets.
right?
The
On that
only
one.
ones that were named was in this single county
Single.
T-SPLOST.
Okay, that
Yes,
was
sir.
that. Okay.
The regular SPLOST, like the one that we just started, the one we're collecting the money in for the overpass,
Right.
and the old ones, typically there was just money budgeted. It was some sort of arbitrary number based on what we thought we would spend in certain areas like roads and streets. And whether it be 10 million or 12 million or 15 or 18, whatever, we just lumped all that together. There's really no itemized list of roads.
Because,
So-
if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Chairman, on the last splash, we got something like 18 million budget just for roads and
For
stuff.
We did.
On this last
Yeah.
one we
Right.
had.
Yeah, because needs change, and like I said, you really don't want to do that because you're not sure what may occur next year or year
Right.
after or even 5 years from now. So you keep that open only because of that reason, so you have the flexibility to
Yeah.
kind of rearrange priorities based on where the needs are.
Right.
Yeah.
and
Go ahead.
talking about all of that, when we changed banks, we're drawing such a great interest rate till we have like an extra $10,000 every month in some of these accounts, some of them a little more. So that's adding to the money that we can spend because we leave that money in that account. So it can be spread around to whatever the projects are that need it.
Right.
And I would just like to say, I think that was a great move on behalf of the commission, the manager, the finance department, all that, because I couldn't understand why if we got this large amount of money just sitting there in a checking account or something, drawing pretty much to zero, when we could put this money into the bank, get a CD rate, and that in turn would have revenue coming into the county that we wouldn't have had. So I think was a great move, you know.
Yeah, our previous banking service wouldn't even communicate with us about changing anything. They didn't even bid on the RFP whenever it came out, so And we're pleased with them. We're doing really great. We like it. We like what we've done, so. All right, let's go to slide 15 and let's talk about the regional T-Splosh. The county has actually received $6.7 million to date from that regional T-Splosh. And our monthly payment now is about $113, it's averaging around $113 a month. But this is the one penny that everybody in Ware County is so upset about that we collect, but we don't collect it. The state collects this penny, and then they divvy it up between all the counties in the region.
Right.
And work on whatever projects they're working, which I understand. We have some new ones. We do have some projects on the next one, right? Is that what, that's right, Scott?
Yep.
I didn't know what they were, but I knew we did have some. So the $113,000 we get, that's a quarter of that penny that is collected in Ware County that they send to us every month. So by putting this money in the bank, we currently have $4.7 in there, and we have spent right at $2 million on roads and equipment and different things throughout the years since we started collecting that money. And again, that's another one with that balance. It's drawing a great interest check every month, so we got a little more money to work with.
And on the regional, we pretty much, that's discretionary, we can use that pretty much.
Yes, sir.
Anything.
Yeah, anything transportation
Right.
will fall under that, won't it, Scott?
Uh-huh, it will.
So with that, that's my presentation for FY 25's budget. I think it's attainable, I think we can work with this, and I think it'll keep everybody happy for a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Beverly.
Commissioner.
In other words, you said that Ware County receives approximately $109,000 from that regional T.
Yeah, it's close, it's about 113, 109.
We paying the state about $700,000 a month to get back 100. Pretty good deal, ain't it?
No, too good a deal.
Well, they're collecting that
Yeah.
money.
Pretty damn good deal.
Yeah.
And the smaller counties are getting more out of it because the majority of the money comes from the larger counties. So,
Now
Yeah, that's about right. That's about
Yeah.
right. If you look at what we just brought in with the regular SPOS, this past month was 770,000.
774.
So we're bringing in $770,000 a month. But we only get back, in the regional now, and then we get back the 113,000.
109.
I believe old Jerry Lewis, I think he could tell you about that. They got the gold mine and we got the shaft.
Well,
Any other questions, guys? For me?
not in the question, but I just like,
Okay.
I hope I'm voicing the sentiment of the commission. We appreciate everything that you and your department are doing as far as trying to be stewards of the money there and, watching our spending. And I think this, our ultimate charge as county commissioners are to make sure that we're giving our citizens the best that we can, And I think anyone, if they've been around a little while, they know that everything is going up. Costs of everything is going up. And one of the key things you hit on is that in order for us to retain good, competent employees, we're gonna have to pay the people. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast, we just got to pay them, and if we don't, they're gonna find somewhere else to go. And we just don't wanna be a training ground or we just get people here and recruit them a little while and train them and then they go off somewhere else. We don't wanna become that. So, appreciate everything you're doing.
Okay. Thank you, Beverly, very much. That's a good report.
I've got a question. Scott, the Board of Assessors is projecting a tremendous number of appeals when the new tax bills go out. How is that going to affect what we do now? Just adjust it later, or?
It's possible we'll have to adjust the revenue side based on what that amount will be. But what I try to tell people from an education standpoint is, it doesn't really matter where your values go. What matters is where the millage rate's set.
Right.
So if the values go way up, that means proportionally or not proportionally, but from a correlation standpoint, the millage rate's gonna drop. Right now, it's around 11 something, I think, 13. So, you could expect if the values go way up, and I mean really up, then you're gonna have a good substantial drop in millage rate.
When will the millage rate be set? What's that calendar?
That's usually, it may be a little late now because of number of appeals, right, Rhonda? Probably
Well,
sometime in September, October.
Well, the assessors they haven't even got the assessment notices out, and they're due next week.
We hope they should be in the mail by the 3rd. They should be received on probably Friday.
So that, they have 45 days to appeal their properties, and after the 45 days is when I'll get the permanent digest once the appeal rates go below 8%. There's a maximum of 8% value of appeals that parcels in the county that can be appealed. So if it's exceeded, I'm not going to be able to get the final numbers to you guys until that is reached, until it goes below 8%.
Gotcha.
So it's going to be probably late August.
August?
Okay.
Yeah. It'll be, their 45-day appeal period will be around August 20th. So it's going to be late August, early September. That we can get the millage rate.
Okay, thank you.
We have any
Okay, up to-
public comments on this budget? Anybody? Public comment? Any commission comments? Any more?
No, I think we
Any more questions?
presented everything, and the manager and the finance department and all, and so only thing left for us to do is either approve it or not approve this budget. And I hope that we can go and approve it and move forward with it.
Always keep in mind, your budget it's a living document.
Right.
You can change it every month if you want to. So it's never set in concrete.
Right.
So if something comes up and you need to add something or even take something away, you can do that too.
And also, it's kind of like a shot in the dark. I mean, you don't know what
Very
all
true.
lying out there,
Yep.
so.
Yeah. Well, I hope as far as the inflation, it stays where it's at, and I don't know, you don't know what may happen in the future, but the cost of materials and supplies, insurances, those kind of things, that's what's really putting a dent in it.
Okay. Any more? Any more comment? Now, we're gonna ask carry it over to the,
Yes, there is the first item on the called meeting
Called
at
meeting.
4.
okay, we'll get out of this, hearing. I hear a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Meeting adjourned. We want to go into this call meeting. Or do you want to have a break? Go with it. Everybody satisfied? All right, let's call to order the, call meeting. We're gonna skip the pledge of allegiance and everything, so we'll go on to the agenda items. Now, our first item on the agenda is the resolution of 2024-12, adopt fiscal year 2025 budget.
Mr. Chairman, I move we adopt resolution 2024-12, which will adopt the fiscal year 2025 budget as presented by the manager and finance director.
What would that amount be, Jerry? The amount,
Huh?
the amount, the budget,
Whatever's on this sheet.
40,
I'm saying,
what was that amount?
what, 46,
40,
46, 545, 785? If I'm looking at, no, that's, wait a minute, that's
49, huh?
20.
It was 49.
Yeah, it's 2024 I was looking at.
On the 25,
It's 49,066,800.
okay. Yeah, we got it right.
To let my motion reflect that amount is given by the manager.
Okay,
I'll second it.
got a motion and a second on the budget. Okay, any discussion on it? How much did that increase from the last year? Was 40,
It was 40,
46? We're talking about three,
Is
you
it
know what that figure is right off, Bill? It's 3 point something
8%
million?
increase? It was in there.
Huh?
Yeah, 8.99%.
8.99% increase, okay. All right. Any more discussion on it? Let's vote on it. Mr. Burris,
aye.
Mr. Pope,
Aye.
Mr. Lucas? Okay, Mr. Hendrick?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Okay. Now, B, 2024-13, approve a contract with Unison Behavioral Health.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, this is a contract we do every year with Unison to provide mental health services, developmental disability services, and substance abuse services. The total amount's $50,026. It's the same amount as last year, too.
Okay. All right. I hear a motion that we approve this contract.
So move, Mr. Chair.
Second.
I got a motion and a second to approve that contract with Unison Behavioral. Any discussion on it? If not, let's vote on it. Mr. Burris,
Aye.
Mr. Pope,
Aye.
Mr. Lucas. Mr. Hendricks.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. All right. C, resolution for 2024-14, approve a right of entry agreement with the Georgia Power Company. They just want to keep using that land.
Yes, sir, this is basically to use that parking lot
Okay.
there during times of disaster, storms, and hurricanes and that sort of thing. We had a previous contract with them. I put a copy of it there in them, but
Okay.
they're wanting to renew that because it gives them a good location to stage all their equipment and trucks.
Okay,
And they're also in Ware County too, so that helps.
okay. I have your motion to approve this right to entry.
Move we approve resolution 2024-14 for right of entry agreement with Georgia Power as presented.
Okay, I got a motion to, got a second? You second? I got a motion and a second. Any discussion on it?
Under discussion, this is, I think Jonathan kind of looks after this. It's a yearly resolution for them to use it during hurricane time.
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
Or any
No,
emergency.
it is, yeah, that's correct, yes, sir.
Right, okay, thank you.
Is it yearly or, I saw somewhere about 5 years.
Well, there's, the previous one was 5 years, and I'm not sure about this one, because I've got 3 different copies. This is the latest one. Jonathan might know right offhand. It is 5 years, okay.
5 years.
5 years, that's what I thought I read.
Yeah, I received 3 different copies, and I wasn't sure which one, that, if they had changed that or not.
Okay.
So it is 5 years.
5 years, yes, sir.
5 years. You got that, clerk? Okay. All right, let's vote on it. Mr. Burris?
Aye.
Mr. Pope?
Aye.
Mr. Lucas? Mr. Hendricks?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. All right. Now, D, the resolution is 2024-15, approve an agreement with Richard Sasser for architectural services. Now, that is for the library?
Yes, sir. That
correct?
is for that grant we received from the state of Georgia library system.
Right.
The $1,010,000 grant. And based on the situation that we're in, we'll need someone to design the specifications and do the work for as far as providing the construction documents and the bidding.
Right.
Yes, sir. And it's at a 6% of the lowest bid received for a contracting price.
Okay.
I would think that the state would require stamp plans by an architect.
Correct, yes, sir. If they're, yeah, and that's the reason why it's better to do it that way.
Yeah.
Because there's some assurances there with
Right.
that.
Yeah, we need a good architect. Okay. I hear a motion to approve it.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve it, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, then we'll discuss. Okay.
Second that motion.
Got a motion and a second. All right. Is there any discussion?
Yes, just for clarification, now, the way this is gonna work is that, okay, they got what, $1.1 million grant?
Yes, sir.
So the county would be like a conduit as far as the monies, other words, we would pay and then be reimbursed back from that grant, or how?
Yes,
is
sir.
that?
Once we receive invoices, they said that they could do a quick turnaround. If we take those invoices as soon as we receive them, and send them to the state, they would approve the payment and send it back. Yes, sir.
Okay, so it wouldn't be anything coming out of our coffers?
No, sir. It was originally thought that we would have to pay it
That's
and
what I
then
was-
get reimbursed, but they said because they got a quick turnaround, once we send them the approved invoices based on the architect's sign off, then they would send us the funds.
Okay, because
Yes.
that's, I wanted to make sure, because my understanding was at the beginning that we were gonna pay and then get reimbursed back, but sometimes things can get kind of cloudy.
That's correct.
in that
They
kind of
said, you know, as long
situation.
as, once we get it, if we turn it around and get it back to them, that they would send the funds to pay for it and we wouldn't have to put it out. Because typically it's a net 30 anyway.
Right.
So we have time to get it back and get it paid.
So
There
what-
was a requirement for matching funds from us, but you were able to get credit for what the work we'd already done.
That's
Mower
correct. I
and
think
roof.
remaining now, we've got probably 70 or 80,000
About 80,000,
left
I
to
think
to
you said.
put with it. Yes, sir.
Yeah, 'cause
Under
we-
that kind of condition, though, a contractor could wait up to 90 days before he's paid.
Yeah,
I done been there before.
yeah.
So, so right now with, and I'm pretty sure once he gets the plans and everything, we'll be privy to look at those plans to see.
That's correct, yeah.
Because that
There's
is a county
Yeah,
building.
there's a committee set up to kind of spearhead that whole process of what needs to be proposed to be done. And once that's done, because Ware County's in charge of that building, I definitely will bring that back to y'all for you to look at.
So have they already formulated that committee?
They have, and I'm not sure right offhand who's all, it's some of the, board members are on
There's
there.
board members on
Erica's on there, Brandon was on there, and so with Brandon leaving, we'll probably I'll probably just sit in. Brandon was sitting in for me, so I'll just get back on the committee, I think.
Is Timmy on that committee? He's on the board.
He's on the board.
He's on the
He's
board.
not on that committee, though.
Not that I'm aware of, there's maybe 5 or 6 on there, I can't remember exactly who it is, but.
Well, I think this is a
Yep.
great opportunity for us to enhance that library, you know, the aesthetics of it, and also the interior, some of the things that they've been saying that maybe they need, so
Yeah.
I think that's good.
Okay. We hear a motion.
I think you got the
got
vote.
a motion.
You
And
got the
a
motion. Okay,
second.
you got a second. Any more discussion on it? Let's vote on it. Okay, Mr. Burson?
Aye.
Mr. Pope?
Aye.
Mr. Lucas? Mr. Hendrick? Chair votes aye. Okay. This is ARPA proposed purchase airport metal storage building.
This was the building that was proposed last time. I didn't know if there was any more discussion on that. If Frank's here somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know, Frank, if you want
Frank's
to
here.
address them on.
There was some, Frank, will you come up and talk to us about that thing, please?
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
So this is in relation to the last time I was here, and the conversation was brought up of whether it's big enough or should we go bigger, since we have the monies for this. So this is the version 2.0. It is larger, still same footprint, but taller, incorporates a larger door, and then that area is enclosed on the backside again for the general storage of the fuel trucks. And this will definitely account for what we need now and then for many years to come. So it allows for good positive growth. I won't come here today asking for any more money, but it'll be coming eventually. So. But just for growth. So. But, other than that, still non-powered. There's no reason to have electricity in it. But should there need to be electricity, we're right at a drop, right at a hole there. So it shouldn't be too hard to trench that in should we need it. But at this point, there's no need for it. So.
Okay. Before we get into that thing, I would like to ask you, the things we talked about, would you like to take on that work? Taking care of the mowing and the upkeep of the industrial park there in that area? And you do all the mowing there, and we build a building to house the equipment? And hire a couple people to help you with it?
Yes, sir. It's kind of a double-edged sword. I'm gonna be straight up with you. Personally, no, I do not. Could I do the job? Absolutely, 100%, no doubt in my mind. Could I figure it out and get the personnel? Absolutely. Equipment? Absolutely. But the job, the airport manager, and what I'm doing, trying to grow this airport for this community and the surrounding communities, I think that would take away from what I need to be doing and concentrating on. We have a public works. If they are unable because of all the other jobs in the county, I know we are the largest. There are contractors out there that are willing to work with us to make that happen. I contracted to get the grass cut a week and a half ago because I have certain limits that I have to maintain in accordance with FAA and GDOT. The contractor was fantastic. It took him exactly 11 hours of total work to mow almost 320 acres of grass out there, which is pretty impressive considering it takes us 2 weeks to mow 100 acres with just one person swapping out in that area. So it's a pretty fantastic job that they did, and it cost the county very little. I'll be quite honest, again, I got no reason not to be. If I mowed the entire airport today with this contractor, it'd cost the county just shy of $11,000. That'll last us in times like this with the heat about 5 to 6 weeks. Well, if you compare that to what it cost the county to operate 2 tractors, 2 personnel, maintenance, upkeep, fuel, diesel exhaust fluid, and any slew of issues that arise when you fall into many of the holes that are out there, that would cost the county almost 2/3 more, if not greater, to do it ourselves. And I think from a financial standpoint, it'd be fiscally responsible to take that contractor on and let them do it than it would be for us to reabsorb that again. That's my personal opinion. And after we talked and others have talked about it, but if you're adamant on me doing it, I'm not gonna turn it down, but personally, I don't want the job. I think we have the ability to even use my efforts elsewhere, and it will save the county a ton of money if we use this contractor or future contractors.
Well, all I see is a problem out there every time you turn around. The county maintenance say they can't get there, or y'all having to hire a contractor. I mean, why can't we have somebody just over the airport and the industrial park there to
Well,
take
this
care of
very
that maintenance?
contractor is the same one that does our right of way.
We need signs and we need a lot of stuff done out there.
I don't
At
disagree.
airport.
I drove around that property after we spoke, and I already talked to him. If I get him an acreage and what exactly they want, or we want mowed as a county, he is willing to incorporate that back in at the same rate. He's actually charging the airport a lesser rate because it's a large area. They just get up and go. They're not having to go around signs, not having to stop for pedestrian traffic. They don't cross runways without us being out there. So it's a really easy job, if you will, not to belittle what they're doing. They're doing a fantastic service. But if we wanted to incorporate that industrial park area, that's still significantly easier than running up and down Carswell or Corridor Z or whatever. And so that would be something that they would definitely want to entertain. And I think that we can incorporate that in when we do the airport as well,
Lord,
and still save money.
a lot of signs is tore down out there. I see that every time I go out there. Somebody, they need to be somebody around that airport and that industrial park doing maintenance work out there. It's like if you turn off on Simmons, it look like it's a dump right down through there.
Yes, sir,
I
but
mean, it
without
don't
making
look
excuses for others, I go down that Simmons area, the old Simmons plant often. There's a lot of traffic that goes through there. There are the local businesses that are operating in that area that quite frankly should be held accountable for what they're spilling out of their vehicles and their trucks. And I'm not knocking anybody we have here. I want the business. That's why I want the airport to grow.
Them
They should
people
be
out
held
there,
accountable
hold
as
on,
well.
Frank, them people's the ones paying they the one paying that tax right there.
100% agree.
They paying our salary.
But if I let a mattress fly out of my pickup truck going down the road, I guarantee you I'm gonna get cited.
Yeah, you
If somebody
need to
else
pick
does
it
it, probably not. That's a fact.
Yeah, you need to pick it up if you let it fall out.
Yes, sir.
But they can't help them bark flying off that truck.
They can send a crew out there to clean up the road though.
Yeah, they can send
Every
them.
month or so, I agree with that.
Well, that's
totally.
what we do. We got maintenance. That's why we pay maintenance, so is to clean
Well, I'm
it
talking
up.
about
We need to
the
work on it.
Mr. Chairman, and I concur with what Frank was saying, and I understand what you're saying about, cutting and everything. But we got our public works director back there, and I'm still of the opinion that if the public works, and I don't know if in his budget he's got in there hire some additional people, but if he has people in there and public works is out there cutting during the growing season, that's all well and good. I mean, that's what, because as I said, grass don't grow all year here in South Georgia. So if the public works, because that really comes under that umbrella, public works. And if there's any other issues out there, like you was talking about signs and all this kind of stuff, all that could be incorporated whenever they're not cutting the grass to get these signs fixed up and all that. But I don't really think that the airport personnel should be the one that's charged with doing that, because they're already dealing with the airport issues out there. And,
Well, there's a lot of times that he don't do, Mr. Leonard. I'm not disputing what you're saying, but there's a lot of times he's not busy all the time out there.
well,
He could ride around that airport, that industrial park, and he told me he could. You know, he had time.
Yes, sir.
I'm not talking about him doing it, I'm talking about hiring somebody and him being a supervisor.
I'm with Leonard, put those people in the public works and let them be versatile and go where they need it.
Right.
What part of the industrial park are you talking about maintaining?
All of that in that area,
Like,
Simmons down to Fulford, back out to the highway.
mean,
and,
cutting
Augusta.
what, the
from
grass,
Albany.
the right of way, or
Just
what?
all the right of ways, mow the right of ways in the industrial, just in that industrial park.
just
Let
like,
him have two tractors out there, he mows airport and that.
Well, with all due respect, in my opinion, that's public works, and the public works director right there can put a system together.
and also, Mr. Chairman, it's already been stated that, okay, you have these individuals out here that, like in the public works or whatever, doing this mowing and whatever. And I think that that's, again, being repetitious, that the public works handle that, because, and like I said, I know Frank, him personnel, maybe they're not doing something all the time, but they have things around that they're trying to keep that airport appeasing
Well,
to
if
everyone.
you just heard what he said he had to have a contractor to do it.
But,
I mean,
okay.
he just said it himself,
But-
and he outdone all the county.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, he's also said that the cost, it would be cost prohibitive for us to, when we compare our personnel trying to do it versus subbing it out. Those people have their own tractors, they have their own personnel, they get out there and do it and be gone, And, sometimes it costs you more when you hire somebody and got them on staff to do something than if you just contract it out.
The only responsibility we had for those 2 days of work was making sure the check got signed. And that was it. It was on them to get everything else done. So, I mean, I'll give you a case in point this past Monday. I was
You
out
gotta
there by
give me one,
myself.
Frank, I already know.
Sir?
I done run a business 40 years, I already know about working people, and I know how to work people.
Yes, sir.
And, and I don't know if you've ever had a business. And
What
so
about
I'm
Monday?
I'm not gonna sit here and Jerry, you ain't gonna listen to that either.
You what?
I ain't gonna listen to you either on that. I don't think you've ever had one either,
What?
a mowing crew or nothing
No,
else.
no, I haven't.
Y'all don't know what it takes to do that.
Well, if I may.
But I know what you do, if you'll take so many people and go out there and put them to work, they'll work.
I
But
don't
this him
disagree.
just running, I can't do this, I can't do that, I don't like to hear such as that. Get off your butt and go to work.
May I respond? You
Go
never
ahead.
heard the word can't come out of my mouth in a speech.
Go ahead.
I said I don't want to do it. If you tell me to do
You
it, I
said
will
you
get it
didn't
done.
want to.
That's not a can't, that's a want.
Okay.
If you tell me to do it, and that's my job, I will get it done. And to answer your question about a business, yes, sir, I have. I've ran 3, I failed the 3 as a civilian. But for 24 years, 8 months and 3 days, United States Navy, I led sailors from 1 to 750, and we got the job done. But I'm not dealing with sailors, I'm not dealing with soldiers, I'm not dealing with Marines. I'm dealing with people that want to do their job and go home, and half those people don't even want to do the job that we're paying them to do. So will I get it done? Absolutely. Do I want to? No, I do not, sir. Not at all.
Well, you don't want the job.
Pay me to do the job as an airport manager. I'm not trying to call them out, I just met them, we've got a good rapport so far. But you have a public works director sitting behind me, that is their job. And to tie it back in, when I took this job over, Public Works used to cut all of the airport inside and around the perimeter. If it wasn't them, it was the jail detail that did the beautification areas. And if it wasn't them, it was Southeastern Mower. People have hemorrhaged in this department and in this county. We don't have the workers, we don't have the equipment, but we have people that have the ability to do it. So I did what I do best is, I made it happen. I got with our county manager, I got with the mowing company that was already here mowing down the road. I said, what would it cost to do this? They told me the price. I said, give me a day. I got with our public works director, asked him, hypothetically, what would it cost to mow this facility? He gave me the number, I times it by 4, times it by the acreage. And it was a major substantial savings for the county to use a contractor, vice us doing it. That's just the reality of it. It's got nothing to do with I can't do it. I was out there on a mower since May, sweating my butt off, while I'm also doing 5 other jobs. It's not that I can't. I'm gonna be something that I don't normally be, and I don't wanna do it.
Hold on,
But if you
Frank.
tell me to do it, I will do it. You asked me the question, I thought about our conversation 2 weeks ago, here we are.
Okay. If you want a true price on mowing, you got to ask the contractor. He's one that'll tell you the true price on
You got
So
it.
it. He's the man that buys the tractors, furnishes the labor,
Okay,
pays for everything out of his pocket.
okay.
Okay, if you go ask the county down there, they'll tell you, they don't know the budget. They don't know what the tractor costs, they don't know what everything costs, they don't know the payroll, they don't know it all. A contractor can tell you what something costs.
Okay.
Even in the military, I know about that, when you bid off something to be built, or a road to be built or anything, they go to the contractor.
And then we pay
He's
more.
the guy that's gonna tell you what it is.
Absolutely, and we pay more to go through.
He knows the cost.
Yep.
And that's the reason I'm telling you about this here mowing and all, y'all saying this and that and other, you can't get cheap prices from the county or whatever. Hell, it probably costs you 3 times as much for the county to mow it as it would for a contractor.
That's what he's
I
saying.
said.
And you know that. Well, why, but if you would do it the right way, it would, and the county can do it that way.
And
But
that
you
is
got
the right way,
to
sir.
stay with so many people. I can take 2 people and go out there and mow that thing,
Okay.
and do all the industrial parts.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, let's get on this bill.
Let's go ahead. But let me finish this, okay? Now, Frank, you don't want to do that,
I don't want to do it, no, sir.
okay? That's all we need to know,
Okay.
okay?
Any other questions, gentlemen?
All right. Okay, is any more?
No, sir.
This building, do we need this building then?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, I think we need it because this building was brought up before anything about this mooring and stuff.
Well, there's 2 or 3 out there, I think, it's something that we was gonna tear down or something. And, I don't think we need to tear them down. Can't use them.
No,
There's an old building behind the building back there, ain't nothing wrong with it.
No, I think that was the building we was talking about tearing down, we
Yeah.
went up on the rent on those.
And ain't nobody in it, is there?
Yeah, it's 2 of
Yeah.
them. They got
Is there
power
somebody
tech-
in that
power
vacant
tech-
building that you was gonna tear down?
Yes, sir. One's got pyrotechnics, they're in there right now doing their thing for next week, and the other one is now Champion, former Scottsville,
Right, and they've been there for what, 7, 8 years or longer?
at least.
They started,
Yeah.
well, yeah, about 8 years. They started right after I started.
And when Frank came up here first with the building, I think if my memory serves me correctly, you were the one that said that maybe we need to just get a bigger building.
Yeah.
But it wasn't anything about the mowing, you just say we just need, maybe get a bigger one. So when he came back with the bigger building, then this when the conversation come up about the mowing and how.
No, hold it now, Leonard. I asked him when we talked to the building, I went to him and asked him, I asked God about it. What if we turn this over to them and let's build a bigger building to accommodate the equipment and all? I did ask that, and I asked Timmy and all of them, I mentioned that, and I mentioned it to Jerry about it.
The bigger building, yeah.
Yeah, bigger building and taking the mowing off.
And this is it, right? This is a bigger building.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, I don't know if the mowing was, like I said, the mowing did come up, but it was after we said we were gonna get the bigger building, then that's when it came up about the mowing. Cause the
No,
last,
he's talking about mowing, and then we went to
You
bigger
can't.
building. He did, but he's right.
okay, well, I couldn't, like I said, I knew the mowing come in there, but I just can't remember when it was.
So if my memory serves, it was 2 meetings ago, I came to you with the smaller building, less
Right.
price.
Right.
It turned into, let's build larger, yada, yada, yada. I said, okay, the very next day I got the plans. Now I made it to this meeting. In between that time, I missed the last meeting, I was taking care of personal
Right.
business. And that's when it was announced, because I was listening to it driving back from Valdosta, about me possibly taking over mowing.
That's
And
the
then we'll
first time I
table
heard
it.
about the mowing.
And I remember Mr. Burst specifically saying, well, can we at least vote on the building? And this answer was no, let's table it until we get to the mowing and the bigger building. So with that being said, I'll gladly build the first building I came in here for, which is less money, still does exactly what I needed to do.
Yeah.
The
So
chairman
I'll-
requested we look at a larger building with the
Right.
idea that might be some mowing coming. It was nothing definite, just let's look
Yeah.
at a larger building in case we started mowing. And, I mean, that's what he said.
Okay, well, like I said, we
I would think-
Yeah, yeah, we might know.
I wanted to do all that work there, and I wanted you to take that building. In fact, I wanted it big enough that I could put a sign in the back of it where I could do signs in the winter months. There's all of these county dirt roads all over the county needs signs reworked. And the industrial park's full of signs out there that needs replacing, needs repainting. And I believe I mentioned that to you, didn't I?
You did.
That you could do that in the winter months.
You mentioned it to me.
When those people didn't have anything to do, that we could do signs. And we really need to look at somebody doing some signs in this county.
You talking about street signs?
Street signs, stop signs. I know there's a lot of highways you can drive up dirt road, and if you don't know that highway's there ain't no stop sign.
Right, and I don't know
They
if
all
this is the
run.
right forum for this, to be quite honest with you,
Yeah.
but you brought it up, so if I may. The purpose of the airport is, I'm not trying to be funny, it's to fly into, or to fly out of.
Yeah,
And when you have multi-million-dollar jets landing, and there are people getting off those jets that want to do business in our county, because we have a massive airport in relation to other counties in this area. Actually, there's 5 counties that depend on us, because they don't have airports. The last thing that they want to see when they get off is a sign shop or a lawnmower pulling out of a hangar. What they want to see is another hangar with a similar, better jet. And that's what they want to see as this airport grows. Again, I have no problem doing it. I don't want to do it, and the airport is not the place for that. It's for that aviation enterprise, sir. And like I said, this is definitely a conversation that I would love to have with you and the rest of the board, the commission, because it's important for our community to grow, and this airport can help facilitate that, and it'll benefit everybody here. But it's not for the purpose of all these other, this is the exact issue that I came to you with months ago, of getting these other entities out, of making it an airport, not a junkyard, not an RV storage, not a whatever it had been turned into for the past almost 30 years now.
well, let me
That's
ask you
the
this.
reality.
how would you, what would you think about building the building bigger that's at the airport and putting the development authority in it? Instead of doing some of this here, you could probably use that building for something else. And let's build a building at the end of the airport. And you think about this here, Jerry, you go ahead and put the development authority in. If people comes in, they can go in, we can have a development authority building right there where your office there is.
And I have no problem with that. That's actually a proposal. I have a grant being written that we can possibly get the money.
Yeah.
Just also to make folks aware and those that are listening to this, whatever it costs for you to build today, if it costs you $100,000 to build a house, it's gonna cost you $300,000 to build it on the airport. And the reason is all the regulations and the rules that go with it. And it's not as simple as today I'm ready and tomorrow we build. It's today I'm ready and next year, maybe if we're lucky, we'll put a shovel in the ground. That's how federal government works. And that's definitely how it works with FAA. Would I love to have Jason and his crew over there? Absolutely. But that would require a new terminal. That's about a $3.5 million venture, which I've already been talking with Scott about, and our engineering firm, and they're working up the plans. But that's again something that I have to come to you with and explain, hey, this is the benefits. So if $3.5 million is going to an airport terminal that only 40 aircraft may be based there, how does that benefit the community? Well, this is one of the ways. The development authority's there, these multi-million-dollar jets pull in, absolutely.
Right.
But that's the conversation just sort of we need to be having. Not public works, not mowing, not a sign shop, not these other items that are on there. Unless it is to solely benefit the support of the airport, and I definitely do not want it in the front where they're gonna park that jet. It's gonna be back around the corner, hiding in the trees, that's where it belongs. Where I need this is for the equipment that I need to maintain the airport. My tugs, my fuel trucks, my associated equipment, my sweepers, all that stuff. That's what this building is for. It's for nothing else. And my own mower, my zero turn.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I think, like Sam was saying, as far as the building, I think we need to go move on that, on the building. And as far as, you're talking about like, development authority and all that, I mean, off the top of my head, I just don't see where that would be a good fit out there, but I do agree, okay, as far as the development authority, and this is something I don't know if Jason even mentioned or whatever about, we got this administrative building up here. And we got a lot of vacant office space up here, right? And I didn't know if that would be something that maybe we could look into the possibility of the development authority being here in this building right here. Because right now they're paying utilities out there and all that, and we could offset that cost. We could not let them just come in for free, but it would be right here under this one roof right here. Because that building out there they say a lot of things out there. Been a restaurant and
Yeah.
all kind of stuff out there at the airport. And like Frank was saying, the airport should have things that's pertinent to airport operation. And not, and Jason them out there and, it even come up about when they doing the fencing, where they had to kind of make some alteration about the fencing, the mail delivery and all this kind of stuff. So, like I said, this is just something I think that we could maybe explore. I mean, we got a lot of space up here and, it wouldn't impact or impede our operations up here if they were up here. Because most time when people come in, then he gonna have to bring them from out there to wherever, in the town or whatever, if they going out to lunch or whatever. So I think it would be a win-win. But like I said, it's just something I've just thought about.
That'd be good, Leonard, if,
And
when we get the overpasses in, but right now they'll have to wait 3 hours to get by the train, so they just stay out there at the airport and get back on the plane and leave. You got to look at this thing now, we jammed up, yeah, we got to do something.
yeah, but like I said, again, like Sam, I would hope that we can just go and get this building for Frank. I think it'd be a big improvement for him out there. I think it would really enhance his operation out there. And then we can deal with this other stuff at some other point in time. But again, I want to go on record saying, as far as that mowing, I think either Public Works or we sub this out, let these people come in there and cut it and be done with it. But I don't think the airport personnel should be the one to have to take care of all this grass and the industrial park and all that.
Frank,
Okay,
just one thing.
Go ahead.
These windows, is it FAA mandated the windows have to be in this building?
That's just for natural lighting, since we're not doing electric. I looked at the option of doing the transparent windows on the roof. Problem with that is you're gonna develop a leak and a good gust of
That's
wind could rip it off, so this is just to get that natural
So
light.
there's not gonna be no electrical in this building?
No, sir.
Okay.
Not at the time. I mean, if we wanna run it, we have the ability.
no electrical.
So, like I said, so, can you, I guess whenever they do the work, when they point that cement, can they have like a conduit or something so that if we ever decide to go with power, you know, you would have something there the way you could get it
Yes, sir.
into there, and,
You can have that added in. That's easy.
right.
I would think that we'd need to go ahead and do electrical in this building. I mean, I don't know, if you got your lawnmowers and you got equipment in there and batteries dead, you need to plug up a battery charger.
Well, I have
Keep
a
on
electrical
charge.
to the side of it where I run an extension cord, yes.
Oh, okay, you got power right there,
I do,
too.
yes, sir. Got the
Okay.
fuel farm.
All right.
Yes, sir.
So you gonna build it right there close?
Sir?
Where's the building gonna be?
The exact location, the older covered area is,
Yeah.
but it's gonna expand to the north, so just north of the fuel farm. Reason why we're not going south is, the Beta company is putting that electrical charging station in for free to charge the next generation of electrical aircraft. That's going in that location, so I need to go a little bit north, and that's where it's going.
Okay. Any more?
No, sir. Thank you, Frank.
Mr. Chairman,
Okay.
I'd like to offer a motion that we go and accept the, proposed purchase of the airport metal storage building.
Okay, got a
Second.
second?
Second.
You got a second, all right.
Give the price.
Let's,
Yes, sir, I knew you was
what's
gonna
the
ask
price of it?
33,475, 37.
33, 475, 37. Gonna
Okay,
include that in my motion.
And that is, 24 by 44 by 18.
Right.
It'll be paid by ARPA funds,
ARPA fund.
right?
Yeah, I think that's
Alright.
what Scott said, ARPA,
Yes, sir.
ARPA funds on that. Okay.
okay, let's vote up. Mr. Burris,
Aye.
Mr. Pope,
Aye.
Mr. Lucas. Mr. Hendricks.
Aye.
Chair vote no. Okay. All right, ARPA proposed purchase of an excavator. You don't know what that one is. So,
Say excavator, Mr. Chairman?
It's under F.
yeah. F. Okay. That machine there is not big enough.
It's big enough for our intended application. It's a small footprint, and it'll handle 8-foot joint pipe, and even 3 machines will handle 8-foot joint pipe at the end.
Is that thing got rubber tracks on it?
You got steel tracks.
Is it?
You don't,
What you,
for this size machine, you don't have to have a low boy and big tractor.
Most, we got a tag-along trailer we pull behind a small dump truck, and that's why it would get in some of the more confined neighborhoods. And it's more convenient, more easier to move, wouldn't be in a tighter spot without tearing up folks' yard as much.
And you got a smaller excavator and a larger.
We have a smaller excavator than this one, and then we have a larger excavator. So if this would fill the void, and we'd be equipped back to do anything the county would need to do in our line of work.
What's your recommendation on these three?
Well, in light of the last deal, I would go with the John Deere, because he's $135,000. He's also thrown in two years, 24 months of scheduled maintenance on this machine. We also had a 5,000-hour comprehensive warranty, including travel time for them.
So that warranty, the travel time?
No, travel time be free, so they'll be coming from Brunswick or
Yeah, I mean, we won't pay for travel time.
No, sir, we will not pay for travel time.
Okay.
All that's included in their price. We had a Kubota, he was at 133.6, but that's a good machine also, but their Kubota only offers a 4,000 4-year warranty. And I think 1,000-hour extra warranty would put us in favor of the John Deere. Just not a lot of electronics on these smaller machines, but there's enough electronics that, as machines get a lot of hours on, could give us a fit.
Kubota doesn't offer 2 years maintenance, free maintenance.
No, sir, they didn't offer that, and Cat didn't offer that either, so at this time, the John Deere's, for our money, that's the best value.
The best value, that's always been what I look at, value.
Yeah, I mean, I prefer Caterpillar equipment, the commissioner confers, Komatsu, people drive Chevrolets, people drive Fords, but in this application, this is the best value for the taxpayer's dollar.
Okay.
John Deere.
Has the John Deere got DEF?
Mechanic usually comes with that.
The mechanics gonna
Yeah,
come.
he'll have to be there if it's a John
Well,
Deere.
you run John Deere's for a long time, Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
I didn't see.
I did, and I got rid of them.
What'd you say, Tim?
Couldn't afford
Sam.
mechanic.
John Deere, does it have DEF on it or just a
I thought I
regen?
had regen
Yeah,
on this.
probably
all
On
on
these
that
smaller, they all have regen and not the DEF.
What is that?
That's that diesel exhaust fluid, and they have sensors you have to keep, you have to put so much in that, and it burns at a prescribed manufacturer suggested rate, that's already programmed machine. You burn so much DEF with the diesel, and it's supposed to reduce your emissions. But it causes a lot of problems because it's corrosive, and the sensors is always bad, and it eats up the mufflers and the whole system and all that mess. On your larger machines, somewhere around 4,000 hours, they recommend you just replace the whole exhaust system on this new stuff.
Are there any additional implements that come with any of them?
There's an option there that we look for a brush cutter, like we have on the Momaxes.
Yeah,
But me and Scott talked about for the cost of the additional mower and the time this machine probably wouldn't be used, it just wouldn't be cost efficient.
okay, thank you.
And this, company, I think, say was one that's in Brunswick.
Yes, sir, they're a large sales force. They got here, Albany, all up around Macon, over in the Florida Panhandle. It's the old,
So industrial tractor,
it's old industrial tractor. And then Flint bought industrial out, and now
yeah.
Dodge has bought Flint out.
Okay.
But we go with any of these machines y'all would like to buy, because they all be the show.
But you, right now, you think this
The
John Deere would
Deere's
do
the
what you
best-
want to
It's
do?
the best value for our dollar.
Now, I'm listening to you, but I wouldn't have that. I'd buy 170 Komatsu.
Well, I called the
And
Komatsu.
that's the best machine on the market, you know
After
that.
after the last meeting we had, the next morning at 9:30, I called Tractor and Equipment. Talked to a gentleman, a McKinney fellow, told him what I was looking for, and he said he would get back with me, and it was yesterday morning when I told you, I ain't heard a word from him. They're 2.5 hours away for their closest dealer, either Savannah or Albany, and they probably don't want to service us. I mean, they'll sell equipment here, but the county's not like me and you being independent contractors, we can load up and go get what we want.
Well, them boys, you probably got a dozen or 2 dozen of them damn things, and they don't never come to it.
Yeah, well, I mean,
And they right in Ware County.
well, yeah, that's good.
There's a bunch of Komatsus in Ware County.
I've had Komatsu, I ain't got no problem with the large equipment, but they were unresponsive in this application. And I
Well,
ain't gonna call and beg somebody to give me a price.
Well, we can wait
My
till they
job
give us
is
the price.
responsibility.
We ain't in no hurry to buy.
Responsibility. Sir,
We're not in no hurry to buy. We can wait till next week.
well,
We wait till we get a price.
well, see, the problem is this is the same deal with last week. Now we've put prices out in public. So now on this same size machine, the competitor knows where he needs to be at.
You don't have a problem with the John Deere?
I don't have a problem with John Deere.
I don't know.
We have a John Deere out there now, we've got good service out of it.
Say, I don't know anything about, when it comes to this kind of equipment,
Yes.
Komatsu, super lottie, whatever. All that, you know, I don't know what.
It eventually boils down to personal choice, like people drive Chevrolets, people like Fords. It's just, you know, your personal preference.
Right.
If you figuring on taking a break every once in a while, buy you a John Deere.
Mr. Larry, you come to work with me for a few days, I'll learn you all about
John Deere, yeah.
it. I'll have you operating right here in no time.
You'll get used to taking a break every once in a while, you run a John Deere. Go to Dale. Let's go on.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Y'all have a good afternoon.
All right.
Any more discussion on the? All right, I hear a motion to buy that machine. So we're gonna table it.
We need a motion?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'm going off a motion that we purchase this John Deere 85P tier excavator in the amount of $135,000. As
Second.
presented by the Public Works Director.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All right, let's vote on it. Mr. Burris?
Aye.
Mr. Pope?
Aye.
Mr. Lucas?
No.
Mr. Hendricks? No. Chair votes no. Okay. Let's go to G, appointment with the Ware County Board of Assessors, post one.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, I put another letter, request letter in front of you there to go along with what was in the packet.
Okay.
So you have a total of three.
Yeah, we got three, we got, let's see, will you read those names out, Scott? Let's see, one,
Yes, sir. One is from Miss Joyce Lampkin. Another is from Miss Kristen Landrum.
Landrum.
And the third is Miss Kathy Roca.
Okay. Now, I hear a motion that we appoint.
Mr. Chairman, I also motion that we appoint Mrs. Kristen Landrum as, for a member of the Assessor Board.
I second the motion. Oh, go ahead with Timmy.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, got a motion and a second. For Miss Landrum,
Yes, Kristen Landrum.
Kristen Landrum. Okay. Okay, any discussion on it?
That she's indicated she's willing to serve, and I think got a letter, you know, stating that she was willing to serve and be appointed on the Board of Assessors.
Okay,
And she's, with Ameris Bank, a branch management, branch market manager. And, so that's my motion.
let's vote on it. Mr. Burson?
Aye.
Vote. Mr. Lucas?
Aye.
Mr. Hendrick?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Okay. Driveway safety sign installation at Maynard Millwood Road.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Hendricks asked that I put this on the agenda for consideration.
This,
And this is what this is it's for Bobby Blue.
Bobby Blue.
His mom wants to put a drive safely sign where they wrecked at out there. And all it is, I believe I sent a picture to Scott about it, but all it is, it's a round sign, and it'll say drive safely in the middle of it, and at the top, it'll be in memory of, and then his name at the bottom.
Okay.
I think that's,
All right.
I'd actually talked to Larry about it too, you know, And I don't see a big problem with it, you know. Larry did mention though that if you start doing this, you know, you get a bunch of, you just
Bunch of
can't, you can't do it for everybody, anybody that gets in a car wreck, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, it is stipulation, he was a county employee, you know,
Yeah.
and a first responder. so,
Right.
Well,
Yeah, I think it's.
I think in this situation, it would be,
Right. Yeah,
it would be okay.
yes, it's a little bit different. It's, you know, again, what you just said, county employee and firefighter, and, it's unfortunate what happened.
Sure is.
I'll make a motion that we, accept Mr. Hendrick's recommendation and have to sign where he stated.
I'll second
got a
it.
motion, got a second. Any discussion on it? All right, let's vote on it. Mr. Burson?
Aye.
Mr. Pope? Mr. Lucas? Mr. Hendrick? Chair votes aye. All right. Any commission comments?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, going back to, you know, I know we voted, you know, about, I guess, John Deere, but, so where are we now with this excavator? Do we go back and rebid it out, or can we go to the next one? How are we gonna do that? I mean, because this would be going until almost like a month that the Public Works Director has come up here and made a request for this piece of equipment that's needed. So, I mean, do we just keep kicking the can down the road, or what? I mean, like I said, I don't know anything about the different ones, so I'm relying on what his expertise, and then also yours, you know, your expertise. But ultimately, it's what the Public Works Director. So, do we go with another, rebid it out, or you say you hadn't heard back from Kawasaki?
Come on, Sue.
Komatsu?
Monson never returned after I contacted them originally, after the last meeting. They have never contacted me within.
I think that'd be the biggest.
We'll
thing.
get a- we can get a
We need to
price
get a
from-
price from Komatsu,
We'll get it.
and let's see where they at.
They gonna be higher.
They gonna be higher.
Yeah,
I know
they got
that too.
machine.
If they might give us
Better
the same
machine.
service plan, you are getting a better machine with Komatsu. There's no doubt about it.
Ain't no doubt.
Okay, so I guess what we were looking at is the warranty, and I guess what, say 2.5 hours, they in Savannah, you said, Larry?
Hey,
You
well,
gotta go to Savannah,
Tifton.
or Albany to get parts or have everything shipped to. Cat's right here local, Kubota's in those, and John Deere's Ireland.
So what about the one out there, the Cat out there on Knight Avenue?
It's like, well, you know, he lowered his price $2,000 because I had that machine spec'd the way I want it. The John Deere and Kubota, these machines, this is the way they come. You can't put longer sticks and counterweights and all that.
But with Cat, we could do that?
Sir?
With the Cat out here on Knight
Yeah,
Avenue?
that's why Cat was originally a little higher. And that's what Kyle told me, that, you know, said the reason that he was able to beat his price like that was that machine in that classification only come out one way. Whereas Cat, it implies several different weight classes, and you option that thing how you want it. And that's what I've done with the long stick.
So basically, you getting it customized to what you
Getting
want.
a more customized machine.
So
But, you know, it's.
that's not something we could look at that one, go back to that one, the Cat?
Well, the price is right there, and he took the $2,000 off of the state contract, but with the options where I had it, now he could shorten up a stick or something of it, but you're only talking a foot difference. And so, you know, it's not, the taxpayer wouldn't really understand the way the way we option the machine. All they're looking at is, well, that machine there's $10,000 to $12,000 higher.
I think the taxpayer just wants work done.
That's right.
Well, that's
So-
what I have,
so
that's what
now
I
we're-
found out since I've been here.
Now we're starting over again. What's y'all's plan? What's y'all's plan to do about that inspector?
I'd like to see the price on the Komatsu, and if it ain't, I know for a fact that a Komatsu's way better machines.
Their large stuff is wonderful. I ain't been on there in a small couple of years.
I've been on one of them.
The problem I got now with this situation, Sam, is like, just last week, we got a Cat off state contract where y'all had purchased some state some tractors like that off the state contract. All right, so now that man's price was out in public, our local dealer's price in public. That way these other two machines gonna come in under that price.
Larry,
Right now,
yeah.
we got three prices out there, and you're gonna call the Komatsu man and say, hey, this is where we at. I mean, that's,
Larry, we ain't trying to be cheap, we asking for quality.
well,
And I know
that's
what-
I got.
what's out there.
That's what all these
I done been out
machines
there.
Yeah, I'm not saying tell the
I know what's
Komatsu
out
man the prices
You
that
don't
you
think
got.
they, same, you don't watch these meetings to see how they turn out?
That's the
I wouldn't
chairman.
think that they was too worried, if you said he didn't call you back in a week, I don't think he's too worried about watching our meeting.
I mean, I ain't,
Y'all play these games, these dealers not gonna be bidding anymore, they just say they have to work in, we ain't fooling y'all.
I mean,
Yeah, what's
whatever
that
y'all
for?
wanna do, I'll get by what I got.
Just do the best you
I'm
can,
all
what you
for
got.
getting
Chairman, I
your
vote.
equipment.
We'll get
I
a price on
I
the
ain't.
machine.
Okay, I wanna
Don't worry
ask
about it.
our attorney, I hate to put you in the hot seat here. Legalistic.
I'd like to spend a little more
I mean,
money.
where we at right now,
I better
because
do it.
we putting these prices out there, and so,
Wait just a minute now, Mr. Leonard. We have voted it down. And
Yeah,
it's
so-
down right now, and we're gonna stop it.
well, I
And then when
understand.
we come back, am I correct? We need to stop this thing now. The next meeting, we will have it. If we will put it back on the agenda, we'll put it back on. And then we'll ask for prices, we'll come back again.
Okay, well,
Okay.
again, I was asking the attorney a question.
Right,
Okay.
and I think where he's at is in the commissioner comment,
That's
on
right.
what's the plan of action gonna be as far as, is the
Right.
excavator, you know, is it needed, and do you need to rebid the process?
Yep, so right now, we're talking about rebidding.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll rebid it.
Now, do
Get
you wanna
price.
do that with the same size
See, the
machine
only fair
as
way to do it is you're gonna have to get a bigger machine or a small machine.
So you kinda
And I
start.
don't need a bigger machine, I got a bigger machine.
Yeah.
I don't need a smaller machine, I got a smaller machine.
All this right here you got ain't apples to apples. I can tell you that, I know it. Ain't none of that, correct? It ain't apples to apples. One of them is a Caterpillar and a John Deere.
You see why I wanna get the hell out of here?
So let's come back next time.
Y'all have a good afternoon.
Get a price.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Larry.
Okay, any more comments? I hear a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Got a motion to second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.